Please don't hate me. Hello beautiful people, I'm back again, and this time it's a book review of Next Together by Lauren James. Before I get into the actual review, I want to talk you guys through what the book is actually about without giving any spoilers. So basically, Lauren James tells a story of Catherine and Matthew and how they're reincarnated again and again to sort of meet each other and get together. So it's a story of fate, a story of like reincarnation. So the story takes place across a few different time periods, because obviously it's about reincarnation, time travel, and it takes place during the Siege of Carlisle in 1745 and 1854, during the Crimean War in 2019, where she predicted a Third World War, and as well as in the future. Alright, so this is the first book that I've read by her, and the reason I picked up the book was I felt like it has been a while since I picked up something that's sort of on the romance genre, something kind of like slightly cheesy, sweet, that that I would be into. So that's why I picked this book up, because I mean, really, the Next Together is basically going to be about romance and love and whatnot. So I thought that would be a nice break from the kinds of reading that I've been doing. Just sort of like from first impressions from the title itself, I knew that it was gonna be about these two people that nothing can keep them apart. They're gonna keep meeting each other no matter what gets in their way. But I sort of expected it to be more like One Day, the novel by David Nicholas. One Day. If you haven't read the book, maybe you've seen the movie, where like kind of throughout their lives they just kept on sort of like bumping into each other, seeing each other again, and feeling that spark, and just kind of knew that they were meant for each other. Okay, anyways, we're not talking about that book, we're talking about this book. So I expected it to be sort of something similar. There wasn't really a summary of the book at the back, just sort of like comments. It's Catherine and Matthew are destined to be born again and again. Each time they fall hopelessly in love. To say the least, the book was completely different from what I expected it to be, which was kind of nice, I guess. Onto the actual review and my opinions on what I thought about the book. So I mentioned on Twitter that I was going to post this review, and someone replied, saying how they love the book. And on Goodreads itself, the book is rated 4 out of 5, or I think 3.8 out of 5 or something like that. And I was surprised, to be honest. Not because the book was bad necessarily. It wasn't bad. The book wasn't bad, but I didn't expect a lot of people to enjoy it that much. I rate 3 out of 5 stars. So for a book to sort of get a 4-star at least from me, is for it to have sort of it's for me to have sustained curiosity throughout the book, and sort of just if it's a book that I really wanted to finish as soon as possible. I really wanted to know what's gonna happen. I really can't really put it down. That's probably a 4 out of 5 for me. And if the books, if I really actually stay up all night to read the book, that's definitely a 5 out of 5, because it was just so good. It wasn't the case for this book. It took quite a while for me to go through the book. I would say it was quite painful for me to try to finish the book, and I'm going to tell you guys why. So in this little book, I've written sort of like my general thoughts on the book. Firstly, I felt very confused. Me rating 3 out of 5 had to do with the style of writing, I think, or the style of storytelling that Lauren James had in the book. It's really jumpy because it's time travel, so it's not chronological, one thing, and you sort of jump from one time to another. Some writers are able to sort of like tie together the different times that these characters go through, and I felt it just wasn't done very well in this book because I just felt like, you know, it was different completely situations, and I felt like even though sort of like the characters were in love with the same people and are supposed to be the same people, you know, in different times, I kind of felt like they were almost separate characters. So it was very confused, the jumpiness, I didn't know what's going on. I felt that she tried to do too much in the book. There was the whole time travel situation, and there was sort of like different storytelling. There was this love story between two people, and there were stories within stories from these different time periods. There was this whole time travel thing, and this whole like programming thing. Apparently someone's responsible for them time traveling, and it's not exactly them. I don't really want to spoil it, but what you kind of figure out at the beginning of the book is that there's a mission sort of that needs to be completed, but I wasn't sure what mission was it. Was it just to get married? Was it just for them to be together till forever? It wasn't stated, you know, sort of in the beginning, and I guess that's sort of part of the book that's supposed to make you want to read more because you want to figure out what the mission is, you know, later on in the book. You don't really get to that until the very last part of the book, and sort of, and I don't know, that just annoyed me because I was just lost throughout the book. I didn't know what was going on. It was just a constant of like, what the hell is going on throughout the book. At every chapter, or like certain chapters, especially for the ones in the present time, 2019 or whatever, that's like my present time, they have like small notes where, you know, they kind of exchange remarks, like notes or emails or, you know, chats, and a lot of the times when I read books, I love those little things because I think they're very cute and they give a lot of like insight to, you know, just it's knowing in characters and the relationship that they have without it being described. It did kind of have the element where you kind of see how cute the relationship between Catherine and Matthew was, but it became annoying because, especially in the beginning, I felt that it didn't really do much. It didn't really help much. It was just kind of like decorations in the book instead of having actual content to contribute or to sort of my reading experience. Some of them do bring content, but there was just a lot of unnecessary sort of like bits and pieces of those little inserts that I felt wasn't any helpful to me understanding the story even more. Maybe it's just me, maybe I'm just dumb. Maybe I just don't get it. Because obviously there's a lot of people who love the book. One thing I loved about the book, and this was what I ended up doing, was I ended up skipping pages to get to read the time period that I was in love with, and it was during the Crimean War. I just love Matthew's and Catherine's relationship in the Crimean War. If I had to choose a time period where I wanted them to end up together, it would have been the Crimean War. I mean, because, you know, love and war. Overall, honestly, I think it's a brave attempt by Lauren James to take on the kind of content she wanted to write. You know, this whole traveling across different time zones, being very descriptive of what's life like in those times, which she successfully did, in my opinion. And you know, but also tell this love story, which I think fell out a little bit, and also make it kind of like sci-fi with time travel. That was just too much on the plate. It was too much for me in one book. There was just no focus on what the story really wanted to tell. It was just trying to do too many things at one time. Apparently there's going to be a sequel. If there was a sequel, would I or would I not read it? I don't know. It'll be really different. I'll probably have to read like a few pages before I actually walk out with the book out of the shop. But honestly, the way the book ended, I think there needed not to be a sequel because they did complete their mission at the end. I've never seen a book that was written this way, and at all, nothing I can compare it to. I thought it was gonna be like one day, it wasn't. So it's completely unique. So on that reason alone, if you like to venture into new things and unique things, go ahead. This is definitely the book to do that. So that's all from me. If you guys have read the book, let me know what you think of the book down below. I didn't really like it. I know some people are gonna love it. Maybe you guys could explain to me what was happening in the book that maybe I missed out. I'm always open to that. I'm always open to rereading the book if I need to understand the story better. If you haven't read the book, would you pick it up? Let me know in the comment section below. Like this video if you want more book reviews from me. Subscribe as well.